and welcome to Friday Favorites. It's a time where I share all of the things that I am loving for the week. Sometimes I talk about the previous week. Since it's every other week, you will find me sharing some of my favorite things that I am enjoying or that I recommend or that I've tried before and can't live without. So let's get started with Friday Favorites. So today on Friday Favorites, it is my Friday Favorites Oscar picks, and I have a guest with me, and her name is Donna M. Brown, and she is a movie buff. Hi, Donna.
Hi.
Thanks so much for coming on and agreeing to do this. I was looking high and low for someone who had seen all the movies, and you responded and said you had seen all of them.
Absolutely. Yep.
And
I got them all in.
And you're a proclaimed movie buff, like that. This is your kind of a little bit of your new hobby.
Yes. Well, definitely self-proclaimed movie buff. I don't know that that anyone else would agree, but I was a theater kid in high school. I loved drama and theater, and so now I've just reached a point where all three of my daughters are grown and out of the house, and I just kind of have that kind of time now where I can make a point of seeing all these movies, and so I've been doing that now for about 5 or 6 years, and I just love it. Now, the further I've gotten into it, the more I enjoy really examining these movies kind of on a little deeper level and trying to kind of create what it is that I really long for in a movie. There's certain things that really captivate me, and then obviously, just like everybody else, there's some that don't grab me at all. So It's a lot of fun.
Before we begin, I do want to, because we're going to go down through each movie, all 8 of them. We're going to start with the ones that we have both seen, because Donna has seen all of them, but I have not. I'm missing 3, which I will try to see before the Oscar nights, before Sunday night. So if you're listening to this, I'm going to put a good effort and watch the rest of them. But I'm curious to know, Donna, are you part of one of those movie passes that, because I know ours has one.
Yeah.
Our movie theater.
I had Movie Pass back when Movie Pass was amazing. And then, I don't know if you followed along or not, but come about fall, it seemed like it was maybe October, November, Movie Pass, their kind of structure of how they did things made them start to lose money very quickly.
Oh, wow.
Probably based on people like me that went so often to the movies. I could literally go to a movie every day, one movie a day for free, and it was great. But they quickly kind of came to a point where they had to restructure their business model, and now MoviePass does not work as well for me. It's way more limiting. And then for a while, I went to AMC's movie membership plan, which is great. Yeah, and that's pretty good if you have, if you're in a big town where you have multiple AMC's near you to where you've got some options. I have one AMC theater close to me, and it's not the best. It's not a great theater. And what I would find also is that they don't carry every movie. Sometimes I was having to pay out of pocket to go to the Cinemark to see certain movies. So it wasn't working out. It was $20 a month, but it wasn't paying for itself, except for during the really Oscar-heavy months of November and December when they drop a whole lot of movies at once. It did pay off for me, and I had it for a couple of months there. But then I have since dropped it because now we're kind of back to a lull in what I consider to be really watchable movies. So there are some out there. You just kind of have to see what works best for you. And, it only really works for somebody that goes to the movies pretty consistently.
Yeah, I thought about doing AMC. We have a couple here in town, but the one in my area, in my little town near me, is it's pretty good. They pretty much get all the movies, I think. So I may look into it. I still, I don't know. Well, I'll be looking into it and seeing if it's worth it. I don't go to the movies that often. I would like to. But But
To
anyway,
make those pay off, you need to go at least probably a minimum of 3 times a month to make it worthwhile.
oh, okay. Well, yeah,
That's it.
we would
Yeah.
probably be able to do that. So let's jump in. I want to start with the one I just recently saw, which was
Hmm.
The Favorite.
Okay.
While I love all the actresses,
Hmm.
it was a little too much for me.
I
and
was just,
and I bet you
yep.
know where I'm going. It was just a little too much. Now yeah. I just it I I remember some of the period style. So this is a set. The Favorite is where there's a queen. Is it Queen Mary? Queen? I can't remember her name now.
Yeah. And I think actually she's a fictional character in this
Okay,
movie. I don't think
because
this
she's
is
a
based on
queen.
real life, but they very tried to adapt it to that period, of course.
Very
So,
period style with the men wearing the wigs and
mhm.
but it was just like I felt like it showed a little too much skin. I'm just not that kind of I really I
Right.
understand there are some things that have to be shown, but then there are some things that could be insinuated rather than just showing it. But the reason I do love period style movies and
Hmm.
I like those uh I want to just kind of know that, kind of give me the hint. I really don't want to see everything. Just
It
give
was
me
a
the
little much.
hint. So
Hmm.
that's my take on The Favorite.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you. The actresses are great. The acting that they did was well done. The costuming was,
Oh yeah.
mind-boggling. It was eye-catching.
Mhm.
But I felt like this movie was just a little too full of itself, a little pretentious. Like
Mhm.
they just took it over the top to the point where I was like, well, this is not really funny. It doesn't even seem authentic anymore. It just went
Yeah.
past a mark where it stopped entertaining me after a while. So that's not the consensus of everyone I've talked to. Some people really loved it, but it was just not really my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm with you. I like a good period piece. There was another one um, done with Saoirse Ronan that was also what was she, Queen Mary,
Oh,
Mary
that's
Queen of Scots.
yes. I
That one
haven't
was
seen it.
more historical,
Okay.
and I actually liked that one a little better, although it was a little dry. But
Mhm.
this one just seemed a little, it was a little too much. It was just
Yeah.
over the top, and I didn't. I like some over the top stuff can be really funny and
Mhm.
entertaining. This did not do that
Yeah.
for me.
So I'm thinking for me that was not my favorite. I don't think that is going to win Best Picture. I
I
think
don't
you're
either.
right. I think it's going to win. Now, I think it's probably going to win for costuming, but and I
Maybe
think it's probably going to give the nod to the
the support
female.
actress.
The
Hmm.
Was she supporting or was she best actress?
Well, I think there's a
The
nomination
queen.
for the Queen herself, which that actress I've seen her in a lot of BBC productions. She's excellent
Yeah, she
and
was good.
probably deserving of the nomination, if not the award.
Hmm.
And then I think one or two of the other characters may be nominated for supporting. And while the costumes were good, I don't know that I liked them better than Mary Poppins. I loved the costuming in Mary Poppins.
Yes, it may
So,
win that. Yeah, you're right. Okay, for time, let's go on to the next one, which I want to talk about A Star is Born.
okay.
Yet another great movie. I I wasn't like over the top. I Everyone loves Lady Gaga and um now I can't remember his name.
Have, uh, Cooper, Bradley Cooper.
Yes, Bradley Cooper. They were great together. I loved all the music. It was great. I just didn't think that it was. I don't think it's Best Picture worthy. I
Right,
think that it's a
right.
good
Yeah.
film. Good film.
Hmm.
I just didn't.
Yeah,
I
we
liked
are
it.
yeah, we're really seeing eye to eye because I'll tell you, A Star is Born, I was counting down the days and weeks to that
Right?
because
Yeah.
of the same reasons. And I love Lady Gaga. In fact, my sister took me as a Christmas present to her concert in Las Vegas last month, her jazz and piano show. Unbelievable. So I'm a big fan. And but I think part of what made that movie get more recognition than maybe it quite deserved is the fact that it was Bradley Cooper's first directorial attempt, and then the fact that Lady Gaga could actually act. I don't know that her acting was worthy of Best Actress nomination, but I think people were just so shocked that she had that talent.
Is she
That
nominated?
she is,
Okay.
and she was good. I'm not going to lie, but if
Yeah.
she had already been in the acting profession, I don't think people would have really given it a thought to nominate her. Not that it was bad, but
Mm-hmm.
not worthy of that accolade. But I think it was just because people were so impressed that she had this whole other facet of talent that they recognized it. So, yeah, I think there's some other things going on with why it was elevated so much that aren't really because the movie was spectacular, but just because people were so shocked that it was as good as it was. So I'm with you. I thought it was a great movie. I enjoyed it, but I was, for all the buildup I had toward it, I was like, well, yeah, it was okay, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it Best Picture.
Yeah. Same. Same. Okay. So next is Roma. I just recently saw that one.
Really interested in your take on that.
Okay. So it was slow.
Thank you.
It was a slow going movie. I'm
I'm
like,
telling you. And
let's
it's
get
gonna
to the
come
point.
around.
Now, I will say that if you watch it, there's a lot of symbolism within the water, with this
Mm-hmm.
water thing going on. But I was like, you're just telling a very simple story,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't understand, unless I'm missing something, I don't understand why it was nominated for Best Picture.
Let me tell you, true confession. I literally went back this morning and watched the first hour of it again because my opinion of that movie is so at odds with virtually every critic in the country.
They
They
love it.
love it. And so I thought, what did I miss?
I mean,
And
yeah,
so a couple things. Cinematography
that's
was
what I was going to say. Yeah.
outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he did it in black and white made it even better. His
Mm-hmm.
use of light and shadow and water, and it was so in keeping with the period of the 70s that he did it. So props to him for that.
Yeah.
But that movie, there is nothing driving that storyline to keep me interested. And I'm not hard to entertain. I love movies, but this was like one of those, slice of life movies where they're just showing sort of the ordinary workings of this, group of
Mm-hmm.
people, this family. But there were so many long pauses in dialogue and just, seemingly senseless moments of silence. This morning I was watching and I got to a scene where it was just showing the maid sleeping in the morning and waiting until her alarm went off to wake her up. And I swear it was just a shot of her sleeping for at least 20 seconds. And
Wow.
that doesn't sound like much until you're just sitting there staring and thinking, move it along.
Yeah.
I get it. She's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very deliberate. I know he did it very purposely. I've listened to interviews where he said this was just a snapshot of what my life was like in Mexico City in the 70s. And people love that. I guess that can really relate to it. But I got to tell you, I found the characters to be a little one-dimensional and flat. I had no empathy, no connectedness. So, yeah, I'm
And you
not
didn't
getting it.
even, so like this is a story. Yeah, you said the setting, but the main character, which is the maid,
Mhm.
she was so well loved by by her bosses, by her
Children
the
and
children
family.
and the family, but you never really could really see that connection, nor why they were so
Right.
connected with
Yeah,
her. That was the
she
missing
wasn't
piece.
particularly good at her job. Yeah. Yeah, it
Like,
was just
that was the missing
a
piece. Like, why do y'all I
yeah,
want to know why. What
yeah.
happened? Like, I know
What am I
now.
missing?
I mean, at the end, you see, okay, they've bonded over something. But before
They
that, I
were
was
bonded.
like, y'all were bonded. Like, tell me how. And it
Yeah,
can't be, I'm Hispanic, so I was really excited to watch this movie. I was like,
sure.
oh, wow, I'm going to see people that look like me, and I'm going to see,
Yeah,
this critically acclaimed,
yeah.
director. Yeah, but I'm with you. It was like, it was a little disappointing.
Well,
I mean,
Thank goodness, because I find myself just thinking, am I crazy here?
no,
We're in the minority, and so I would say to people out there, don't take my word for it. Watch it yourself,
yep,
because there are many who love it.
yeah,
Don't assume I have nailed it down.
right.
But I definitely agree with you. I think it's a little oversold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the next one the other one that we have both seen is Black Klansman.
Hmm.
So I do love that movie. It was very well made. I feel like what's crazy is the main character. I listened. I was going, what? Why does my mind keep going to something else? Like, why can't I get his voice out of my head?
I
And
know where you're going.
and I was
Hmm.
like, his voice sounds like something, and I'm like, what is it? And I finally told my husband. Well, it came to me, and I was like, oh yeah, this is
Uh-huh.
Denzel Washington's son. He sounds
Yeah,
like
I had to look it
Denzel
up.
Washington.
Yeah, as soon as I got out to my car, I was looking it up and thinking, dang it, I didn't know he had a son. He's awesome. Because I
Yes,
love Denzel
he was
Washington. So, yeah,
great.
yeah,
So this is a Spike Lee movie,
yeah.
and I do like Spike Lee movies. Not all of them. I just
Hmm.
like some. Um, but I was glad that he was back, and I'm glad that he's been nominated. I'm not sure he's
Hmm.
going to win Best Picture. I'm not sure it's going to win Best Picture.
Right.
Um,
Because of Roma.
because of Roma. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe Roma's going to win. I don't know.
That's
Uh,
what the buzz is.
is it that Roma's going to
Mhm.
win?
Yeah,
That
not
would
even
be.
close. It's like a hands down,
Is that
like,
right?
yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. We'll
Well,
see.
you're in the know because I have not been reading critics. I've just been like trying not to, and just kind of
Yeah,
just watching them as is. But
your own.
yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I'm not sure. Ooh. See, if for those of y'all that are listening, it's like I feel like Roma is one of those. Like I feel like they're pulling out one of those pictures that obscure pictures that are normally on other like best foreign film.
Well, and it's nominated for Best Foreign Film. That's what's so weird
It's
that they would
also
pull out.
nominated.
Yes, yes. Isn't that weird that they would? I mean, it seems like if you're in that category, you shouldn't get also nominated for Best Picture,
No.
but they have made an exception.
Hmm.
Very, very weird. Yeah.
But back to Black Klansman,
Yes.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good story. It was a true story based on a true story, and I I really enjoyed. It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
That was my take on it. It was entertaining. I think Spike Lee did a great job. I love that he continues his that effect where they're like, he puts them on wheels or something and they kind of go in and
Sure.
out. I
Hmm.
like that effect that he has.
Yeah, he's
So,
very creative. Yeah.
and whatever Denzel Washington's son's name, I can't remember. He did a
Me
great
either.
job. He did a
Yeah, he's
great
really
job. He did a great job. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I gotta say, one of my sort of criteria, because I love virtually all movies. I mean, I don't hardly go to the ones that I know are just awful. So of the ones I go to, I'm hardly ever completely disappointed. But what I've figured out, for me anyway, is the way I can tell a movie that I would set apart as something super special over other good movies is if I leave the theater sort of speechless and just kind of inwardly so consumed with my own thoughts that I can't really even discuss it for a while.
mm-hmm,
That's a movie to me that I'm thinking, okay, Best Picture nomination. And
mm-hmm.
that's what Black Klansman did for me.
Okay.
That's one of the ones in this group, and there are many in the nominees that I liked, but this is one of the few that I just was so consumed with the story and what it meant for people in this country and people of color and just the creative way he told it that was so compelling. Yeah, that it was one of those where I left the movie theater and I was still thinking about it 30 minutes later when I finally got home,
Hmm.
still consumed with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was one of my favorites. I thought it was great, and a great story that needed to be told. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the next one is the Green Book.
hmm
And I have to laugh, and I have to tell you, I saw an interview with Spike Lee, and they pointed out that the last time he was nominated, I believe, for maybe it was Best Picture, but it might have been producer. He lost. Oh no, it was for Best Picture, and oh gosh, now was it Do the Right Thing? I can't remember what movie it was.
Maybe. Yeah.
He lost to Driving Miss Daisy. And he was like...
There seems to be a pattern here.
And so now this year, there's a pattern. And so now he may lose to the Green Mile. Well, he may lose to Roma, but now he might lose to the Green Mile is up against him.
The Green Book, yeah.
And now I'm sorry, the Green Book. I keep saying the Green Mile. But yeah, and so now it's reversed. Now it's the white guy driving the black guy. So funny.
That is funny.
What did you think about the Green Book?
I didn't hate it. I mean, I've read a lot of the criticism, and I see where they're coming from. It is kind of a neatly tied up story with a bow on top that is a little kind of cleaned up. But I don't know that that's completely fair, because there's some very, raw, brutal depictions of racism and what it was like to be a person of color in the South at that time, or frankly in any part of the country. And the character of Viggo Mortensen clearly shows his own bias early on that is very difficult to watch and listen to. And maybe they resolve all that in a way that's just a little too storybook, but it's based on a true story. I know there's debate about how accurate that was, but I think maybe that all is a little unfair. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's Oscar worthy. I enjoyed it, but I probably wouldn't have put it in Best Picture nomination. I was a little surprised by that. I thought Mahershala Ali was great. I thought he did a great job at that character. And I would recommend the movie to people. I think it's worth watching, but I wouldn't have elevated it quite to this status.
Everybody I talked to before I saw the movie said Best Picture I've ever seen, best movie I've ever seen. So I was, a lot of people loved it. Is Mahershala Ali, is he up for Best Actor?
He's up for Best Supporting Actor, because I think they kind of look at it as though the two of them. No, hold on. I've got it all right here in front of me. Yeah, he's up for Best Supporting, and what's kind of I think Viggo Mortensen
is also.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They put Viggo Mortensen, the white guy, up as Best Actor nominee, and Mahershala Ali as supporting. And that's a little, to me, it was very much a co-star movie. I don't see one of them necessarily being a bigger role or more important role than the other. So that's a little surprising that they didn't both get Best Supporting, maybe, or Best Actor. I don't know. I don't know why they chose to do it that way, but. And Viggo Mortensen did a good job as well, but it's one of those that I would recommend people to watch it. I liked it, but I probably wouldn't have put it in Best Picture nominee.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the three that I haven't seen. I'm going to see Black Panther very soon. It's on Netflix, and I'm excited to watch it. So I've heard so much hype about it. I do need to know if there's any bad scenes, because I'm going to ask my family to watch it with me. So I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't ask them to watch Roma with me.
There was that scene was in there. When I watched just that first half this morning, there was that scene of the guy with the shower curtain rod doing his martial arts thing. I was snap. I did not remember that.
I know. So like FYI, people, there's male nudity in Roma. Full frontal. I mean, there is nothing to hide.
They don't even try.
They don't try. So just FYI for people that are listening. Hide your eyes. So Black Panther, What'd you think
I don't
about them?
remember there being, okay, well, first of all, I don't recall there being anything questionable in the movie other than
Okay, good.
obviously there's some violence.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's a superhero movie, so there's fighting.
Yeah.
Um, so I will say this, I that is the only movie, and I don't do this often. That's the only movie I went back and saw a second time this year or
Really?
last year, which is saying something for me.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it that much. It's just super fun. And I'm not a superhero movie fan as a rule, although they're growing on me because as of the last couple of years, they've started really making them interesting and fun, even for people who don't know the backstory of the superhero, who didn't read the comic books. That's me. I go in and I don't know the backstory to Spider-Man, and I'm not going to grasp it all before I watch this movie.
Right.
So, on some level, they have to appeal to people like me, and Black Panther did that really well. I loved it so much. I loved visually it was stunning to watch. The characters were very cool, multifaceted, interesting people. The storyline, the plot was really good. Yeah, I really, really, really did enjoy it. And I would say, if there's ever a time for a superhero movie to finally hit Best Picture nominee, this would be the one.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't pick it to win, but it really, really was well done and was just such a um, interesting departure from a typical superhero movie that we've become accustomed to over the years. The fact that it just really elevated and featured this powerful, nation, kind of fictional nation in Africa, and these admirable, powerful people involved in it. It was great. Loved it.
Good. Yeah, I started watching a little bit of it and I really liked the beginning. Yeah, I'm really excited to watch it.
Ah,
So,
good.
okay,
Yeah, I think
so
it's great.
Vice. Why? Why was Vice nominated for Best
You know,
Picture?
that is exactly what I asked myself when I allowed it to sit in the theater for probably a month before I forced myself to go see it.
Has anybody
I
seen
did
it
well,
besides
and
you?
I a few people have now because I saw it and said you have to see this movie.
Okay. Okay.
Here's the deal. I thought, no way do I want to see this movie. Clearly, it's just going to be propaganda, and
Yeah.
not getting into anything
Political.
political, or
Yeah.
I'm not going to reveal my own political preferences here, but I don't like to see political propaganda on either side. I
Right.
want to watch the facts and make my mind up. I'm not going to, put
Mm-hmm.
myself, subject myself to things that are clearly biased and not true. So I forced myself finally to go in, and I walked out of that movie in the same frame of mind as I did when I left Black Klansman, in that I couldn't stop thinking about it all the way
Hmm.
home.
Okay.
I loved it. I
Okay.
loved it. And I couldn't be more shocked to tell you that. So, yeah, go into it with an open mind. I don't know if you saw several years ago a movie called The Big Short. It was
Yes.
about a housing
Excellent
crisis.
movie. Yes.
The same director does this one. And
Oh,
he
good.
has this magical ability to take what would otherwise be a very dry and uninteresting topic and get you on the edge of your seat, just fully engaged. And that's what he does with this. It's so good.
Hmm.
And
I love that.
Christian, yeah, and Christian Bale, every time I see him in anything, I always think of that funny scene from Friends where Chandler watches Joey do a commercial for men's lipstick in Japan, and when it's over, he says, "You really are a chameleon." That's how I feel about Christian Bale. I
Wow.
swear, everything I see him in, he is a chameleon. He's so good. So he just embraces that role and runs with it. It's fascinating, it's funny, it's thought provoking, and it's almost tongue in cheek. And they don't, like, they even are kind of upfront about the fact that they've taken what they do know and embellished on it a little bit, because they're trying to tell a story here that they feel is worthwhile, that people need to know. So keep an open mind. I ended up loving it. I would have never guessed that it would end up being one of my favorites. So
Wow. Okay, I'm excited to see it now. Good.
Good.
I'm excited to see it. Okay, the last one is Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'm shocked that you haven't seen this
I
because
know.
it's gonna make your day. I tell you,
I can't wait.
I
I can't
walked
wait.
out of that movie and I realized my cheeks were hurting, and it was because I had literally been grinning from ear to ear almost the entire movie. It's just
Wow.
joyful. Even
Oh,
though clearly
good.
everybody knows, Freddie Mercury's story does not end well. But the way
Right.
this movie is done, there's just so much sheer joy in watching them create this music. It's
Wow.
great. I can't say enough about it. Now, would I vote for it Best Picture? No.
Okay.
It's not really about how they did the film or that it's this great work of art or anything. It had more to do with what the story was about and the music that was in it and the way they brought it to life.
Yeah.
It just made me so happy. I loved it.
Do you think
So yeah,
that he's gonna win best actor?
I think he might. And I think it's probably justifiable. He was so good in that.
Yeah.
And he did win Best Actor at the Golden Globes. It would not surprise me.
Oh.
But he is up against Christian Bale, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, because I saw Christian Bale as in Vice. I mean, I saw pictures of the
Right.
movie trailer and all that, and I was shocked. Yeah, you're right. He's a chameleon, and I was like shocked. I was like, wow, he really embodied that person.
Yeah. I think Rami Malek will win over Christian Bale just because the movie Christian Bale did this year is not as popular
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
as some of his vehicles usually are every year.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when he's nominated, the movie he was in is also just widely received. Whereas, like you said, who's even seen
Yeah.
Vice?
Yeah. I'm
So
surprised it's still in the theaters. I figured that
yeah,
of all of the 8 movies, I figured that Vice would be on Netflix by now, or like, where you could rent it for $3.99
yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah. Well,
$5.99.
I can't wait to hear your feedback on Vice. You'll have to text me or something
I
after you
will. I
see
will
it.
text
I'm really
you.
interested.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
that's
so you're going to go see this with a girlfriend.
yes. It's actually a cousin of mine who also um, loves movies and theater, and she even has a daughter in that lives in Brooklyn and works in the theater. So that's a big
Wow.
thing for her family as well. So we realized we kind of had this very compatible hobby, and so we're gonna uh, take
That's so
some
much fun.
yummy snacks and hole
There.
up in our hotel room and watch the Oscars.
Yay, that sounds like fun. We last year we had an Oscar party of like, I don't know, there was only 5 of us maybe, but invited some friends over. I made ballots, just the major ones, and I had I think I had a $5, $10 gift card to Starbucks for whoever came close,
Very
So
good.
um
That's
yeah, so it was fun. We had a good time. I may do that again. It was one of those last minute things, but sometimes those last minute things, are good. But
sure.
I will be glued to the TV and
Yeah.
watching
Well,
all of
I've
them.
managed to see most all of the movies in other categories as well. There's a
Oh
few
wow.
Best Actor, Best Actress where there are movies that weren't necessarily in the Best Picture category, and going on down like that. So I pretty much covered them. Even Best Documentary, I've gotten 3 out of 5 in
Mm-hmm.
some of those. So the more I get in, the more interesting the show is because then I have some basis
Yes.
for some basis for comparison when they're mentioning all these odd
Yeah.
movies and shorts and different things.
Well,
So it's really fun.
yeah, I have never, that's really cool that you're seeing all of those. I have never gotten this close or nor have I wanted to. There's been in the past, there's been obscure movies that I'm like, I don't care to see that. But, and, but Roma, was attractive because I thought, well, it's
It's
set
on
in
Netflix.
Mexico, it's on
Yeah,
Netflix, I'll just go ahead and watch it. Now, was that original to Netflix? It's a Netflix movie?
it was. Yeah, Netflix produced it and it was
Wow.
released on Netflix. And I've read that it did actually have a theater release, but it was very limited. Just certain cities showed it on the big screen for a very brief period of time.
So this may set some precedents here. If I hope
that's becoming really, really common now for Amazon and Netflix to release these big feature films. So it's kind of interesting and makes them very accessible to a lot of people, which is a good thing.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm excited that's going to open up some doors, because I would like to not have to go to the theater and just kind of, watch it whenever I can.
Exactly. It's kind of fun to just be able to do that at home in your pajamas every once in a while.
Yep. Donna, thanks so much for coming on. This was fun. I enjoy your viewpoints. I'm going to be calling you and texting you from now on, like, hey, should I see this movie? I'm really sad now that we don't live in the same city. You're in Texas. I'm in Tennessee. You would love Tennessee, or you would love Nashville, because we do have like a artsy kind of theater that's been here forever called the Belcourt Theater, and they show documentaries and odd films, indie films. Yep. And but I'm really excited to see our picks and see who wins.
Yeah, this has really been a pleasure. It's been fun for me to just get to kind of release all these stored up thoughts that I had about these movies.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thanks for listening to our Friday Favorites Oscar edition. A special thanks to Donna for sharing her favorites with us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to check out our other Friday Favorite podcast. Music is by Ben Sound, and our sponsor is Amazon. Please visit our Amazon store by clicking on the link in the show notes. When you purchase from our store, you are sponsoring Rising Stories podcast. You can also make a donation of $5 or more to help support this podcast. Thanks again for listening, and keep rising in your story.